What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Droid Life Show, episode 150 today. I'm your host, Kellen. With me, Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hey guys, how's it going? I didn't even know it was episode 150.
150. It's kind of a big deal on some level. It's also Thursday, August 31st. In case you're wondering, it's kind of a weird day. Tim's off tomorrow. He's taking off for Labor Day weekend, so thought we'd do the show. And there's just so much stuff to talk about. We kind of needed to get a show in. So anyway, thanks for joining us. If you're live, we're a day early. If not, you'll just get to wake up tomorrow on Friday morning and start listening even earlier. Kind of an extra bonus there. So anyways, yeah, thanks for joining us. There's just been a ton of stuff going on. This show will be packed with all the goods. We didn't do a show last week, and last week we got Oreo, kind of a big deal. Galaxy Note 8, also kind of a big deal. And then this week's IFA or IFA in Berlin, and lots of stuff going down. LG V30 official, Moto X4 official, new Sony phones official, new Nest official, new Samsung Gear Sport stuff. I have an Essential phone in house now, also a V30. There's just it's gonna be so hang with us, but I think it should be good stuff. A lot of this is kind of one of those times that we all look forward to, that heading into fall season where it's back to school, almost to holidays, and just everyone wants to announce new stuff. It's a good time. So let's start with, I think, what is the biggest. Well, it's not the biggest, but it's kind of the most important for what we do, and that's Android Oreo is now official. So last week, total solar eclipse went down last Monday. Can you believe that's already been like almost 2 weeks since that happened? Week and a half. So that happened, and Google decided to time the announcement or unveiling of Android O's name with that. And we already complained about this a couple of weeks ago, but anyway, they did it. And a few minutes after the solar eclipse happened, they did announce that Android O is indeed Android Oreo. And it's an official partnership. There's you can't go buy like Android Oreos, but I think they made some special versions or something for maybe some Googlers or like at a party or something. But it's official. It's Android Oreo. We already knew it was Android 8.0. It is now stable, though, at AOSP, rolling out to Pixel, Nexus devices, all that stuff. And I think that's kind of it. We're how many betas into this or previews? 5? We were 5 previews in.
Right, and we thought this was the 6, but then they just changed up how they're doing the build names. So
yeah, so it was a release candidate instead of a preview candidate. Yeah, because the names were previously like OPP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one is ORP 6, I think, which basically just means a release candidate, or OPR, whatever. Anyways, it's official. So it's Android Oreo, and if you own a Pixel or Nexus that is getting it, you probably might have gotten it already. Kind of depends. If you were in the beta program, the update showed up like that, just instantly. You were on it. For those that were not on the beta track, you are starting to get it now. Verizon's customers who own Pixel, and Pixel XL started getting it a couple days ago, and Google, I think, tweeted today like the rollout has really started. So I think anybody else who hasn't should be getting it. In terms of new stuff, there's nothing really new, right? Like we've talked about a lot of this stuff that came out over the previews, like notification channels and sort of an organization of notifications, and you have picture-in-picture mode, which apparently doesn't really work in anything. For YouTube, the one that everyone wants to use it in is a YouTube Red exclusive feature, which is kind of garbage. So that's one of the big features. But Google Maps is starting to get it. Chrome has it. I actually think that's one of the better features. I never thought I would really use it, but I've already found myself using it, like on Twitter or something. Like if I see a YouTube link on Twitter, click on that, pop it open, then just hit home right away, and it just floats around while I continue on in Twitter. Like those things I've actually found sort of useful. What else do we get in there? A new emoji?
Yeah, I mean, and then really that's the big stuff, the emoji. What is so I've been loving just the developer previews. That way, once Oreo drops, like once the official kind of public release drops, it's not some huge dash to dive in and find out every new little feature and stuff. I mean, we've been playing with this stuff for months. So that's like one of the things I love about the developer previews.
Yeah, we kind of just we kind of know a lot of the stuff because we have been using it. Autofill API now. So like LastPass and Dashlane are already updating their stuff to take advantage of that. Although they're in betas and they're kind of janky. So I've just been using Google's autofill because it has Chrome and already attaches to my stuff. But are we missing anything? I don't want to say there's not a bunch of news. Well, there's Project Treble, which will help with updates later on, but that doesn't necessarily affect anyone at the moment.
It sounded like you named all the big stuff. Like I'm running it right now and I'm just trying to think like, did you miss anything? But I don't think you got picture in picture. I mean, really, it's not a huge change. There's a lot of back end stuff, of course. I mean, they're always trying to make the battery life last longer. And other than that,
it's better. I guess there's new notification
channels and channels and dots.
Yeah. That's kind of it. We have a new statue and we have sort of a new Oreo mascot, which is like a superhero, which I don't fully understand why it's a superhero. And all the other ones were just Android statues of whatever the treat was. This one is an actual superhero. And they're saying it's like supercharged, superhero update, blah, blah, blah. That's fine.
Yeah. The fast boot up, says Jonathan in the chat comments. Yeah, I mean, it's like a 2-second boot up, which is awesome.
Which is awesome. Adaptive icons. I actually found the post where we actually wrote up all this stuff. There's background limits on apps and stuff that have more control to allow you to hopefully extend that battery life. Yeah, those are kind of the big ones. It's not a bad update. I mean, it definitely changes some stuff, but we're kind of in one of those in-betweener updates where it's not like a massive UI overhaul. There's not huge changes, just like we're fine-tuning nougat, I guess you should say.
Adaptive icons.
Yeah, adaptive icons. So anyway, Oreo is out. If you were wondering when you might get it,
it's going to be a while.
Play it off like maybe it won't be that long. So they actually said during their announcement that they've been working closely. I think they say this every year.
Yeah.
They've been working closely with hardware makers, including Essential, Nokia, Huawei, HTC, Kyocera, LG, Motorola, Samsung, Sharp, and Sony, who are either working on updates or are scheduled to launch phones running Oreo before the end of the year. So, I mean, that's a good list of manufacturers. I don't know that I believe that all of those will have Oreo devices before the end of the year, but we know Sony is supposed to, their new phones, which we'll maybe briefly mention later if it's worth it. They'll have it, and they have a list of Oreo devices. Like HTC already said the U11 will get it fairly soon. I would imagine LG will probably push it to the V20 fairly soon. Essential should. I mean, Essential phone's running nothing, so it should be able to update. So Samsung, like next May, probably like that. So anyways, Google did say that they're working with people and that they're trying to push it out as fast as possible, which is good. You know,
fingers crossed, but no promises. I think all the Android OEMs learned that you should not make promises and guarantees when it comes to Android updates.
Yeah, how many times did HTC every time launch phones where they said there's a guarantee within one of them was like 15 days, wasn't it? Which was just nuts.
Yeah, that was the A9, the 1A9, I think.
1A9, and it lasted. You and I were keeping track. It lasted about 3 months, I think.
Yeah, lie detector determined that was a lie. But, yeah.
Definitely a lie. So, all right, so Oreo's official. Go get it if you got a phone that supports it. If you don't, welcome to Android. It might be a while. All right, so Galaxy Note 8 was announced last week, 2 days after Oreo. Yeah, 2 days after Oreo. So I was in New York for the big event. They unveiled it, announced the phone. You know, there was no secrets there. The phone had just been leaking. There was a time where Samsung was actually pretty good at keeping secrets. They are no longer good at keeping secrets. So the Note 8 though is official and was announced Wednesday. It went up for pre-order that night or the following morning, whatever you want to say there. And it arrives September 15th. Is that the date?
That's like the official date, yeah.
Yeah, so September 15th. So you can pre-order it. Obviously, you can still pre-order it right now. And it should arrive at your house by September 15th. So Samsung, again, sticking to that schedule where they announce something and about 3.5 weeks later, the phone is in your hand, which is pretty cool. So Galaxy Note 8 recap, running 7.1.1 Nougat. 6.3 inch Quad HD Plus Super AMOLED Infinity display. Slightly curved edges, maybe not as much as the S8 and S8 Plus. A little more square. Still a Snapdragon 835, 64 gig storage, 6 gig RAM on this bad boy, 3,300 milliamp hour battery. Still quick charge 2.0, by the way. Even though this is a Snapdragon 835, they won't like license or pay for quick charge 3.0, still 2.0, but it does have fast wired and wireless charging. That dual camera setup on the back. So you got two 12 megapixel dual pixel cam. Well, one's a dual pixel camera, one's just a 12 megapixel telephoto lens, one's wide angle. It should be great.
Both with OIS.
Both with OIS, which is kind of crazy.
That's huge.
Yeah. You should have the most stable photos ever.
Insanely stable.
So stable.
Much stable.
USB Type-C port, headphone jack, IP68, dust and water resistance, Bluetooth 5.0, of course, fingerprint reader on the back in a terrible spot. Same terrible spot as the S8, maybe worse. I'm not really sure because the phone is a little bit bigger. Iris scanner, facial recognition. It's got it all, right? I mean, it looks like an S8, S8 Plus with a little more squaredness, like a Note. And and it has an S Pen, of course. It has an S Pen. Let's see what else. So it costs roughly at least $930, right? $930 off contract. There are versions that start creeping up towards $1,000, which is expensive. I mean, are you ready to pay $1,000 for your next smartphone?
Well, I mean, Android users aren't even buying apps for $1, let alone buying their phones for nearly $1,000. So good luck with all that. Samsung, the last report I seen, Samsung expects the Note 8 to outsell the Note 5, which is one of their most selling devices of all time. So apparently they think that people are ready to spend that much on an Android phone. But me personally, I would make the argument that this phone comes with everything you would ever want, at least in this year, right? I mean, up to this point, it has everything that we all cry for. It doesn't have a huge battery. It's at least got a 3,300. It's not in the 2,000 range, which other companies seem to do these years. Huge Quad HD Super AMOLED display. It's got the fast wireless and wired charging, which is nice. That dual camera setup will probably be the best dual camera setup on the market with the dual OIS. I mean, they're the only ones doing it right now, so that's pretty exciting. Samsung Pay, water resistance.
And
it's got a fingerprint, or not just a fingerprint, but a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It's really got it all, and
it does have it all.
It does have it all. So I could make that argument. At the same time, I'm like, well, there's phones that have nearly all of that stuff and are a couple to a few $100s cheaper. So it really just depends on the person, right? I mean, Samsung also bakes in a ton of their own, custom software stuff. So if you don't really value that stuff, then sure, it'd be hard to justify that price. But there's plenty of Samsung fans out there, and I will not underestimate them when it comes to how much they will spend. Just like Apple. I mean, from what we've seen, the new iPhone 8 should be about $1,000, and that's not going to stop anyone from buying that phone. So,
So Joe Snow in the chat points out something that's actually the correct idea here. He says if you buy a Samsung phone for full MSRP, you're doing it wrong, and I would agree because you can buy a Note 8 right now for a pretty substantial discounted price. While it starts out about $930, I mean, Samsung, I wrote up yesterday, they're still running their trade-in deal where you can trade in like 2- and 3-year-old phones and get $200-300 off instantly, right? Like I got us one for the site to have on hand at all times and instantly slash $300 off because I'm trading in a G4. Like a G4, if I tried to sell a G4, I'd probably get $60 for it. So you can do like that. There's other deals. And not only that, they're giving you a couple $100 worth of freebies. Like you can get a Gear 360 camera. You can get a 256, I think, SD card. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? There's all these freebies out there. So it might be $930, but if you have a phone and you trade it in, they'll give you instant discounts and a whole bunch of freebies. So you can get this phone down to a much more normal or manageable price.
Sure, and even if you don't have another phone to trade in, give it a month or two. Maybe you don't need the phone right now. I'm sure we'll see the price come down a little bit. We've heard that T-Mobile will soon offer a buy one get one promotion. So, say you're like, well, I'm spending that much, and I could get two at least for the price of one. I mean, that's not terrible. So there are always promotions coming and all that. And like Kellen said, the trade-in offer, which is really incredible for a company to be doing that. So instant trading credit, which is it's way better than okay, maybe you'll send the phone in, we'll send you like a prepaid gift card or something. I mean, this is way better than that. So
Yeah, so Samsung started, I think, with I don't think they did it with the Note 7. I think it was with the S8, but they started this new trade-in deal where they give you an instant credit. Not, it's not even a credit. They give you an instant discount up front if you say like, I have this phone to trade in. And then they send you the phone and you only pay whatever the discounted price is. And then in the box, you throw in the phone you want to trade back to them and you send it and they look at it and go, okay, it's fine. And then they don't charge you anything else. Unless your phone is like actually broken and you were lying to them or something. But
right.
it's pretty great. Like I did it with an S8 Plus when they were having a big discount. I swapped out like a Note 4 or something like that and got like $300 off. So their deals right now, I think, are some of the best just because you get that instant. Now I know T-Mobile is supposedly doing a buy one get one free Note 8 deal here maybe in a week or so, or no, maybe tomorrow.
This weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does that start tomorrow? But like you just said, they'll do buy two and then they're going to send you a prepaid gift card probably in like 8 weeks or something to cover. It probably won't be that long.
They've gotten better at that.
Yeah, so to cover the cost of it, not a huge deal, but again, you do have to pay more up front typically when that happens, and then you get a prepaid gift card, which I'm not a big fan of those things, but it is a deal and you can do buy one get one free. So
yeah, Wade makes an interesting point. He says the Note 8 will drop once the iPhone comes out. That's the thing. I don't think it's going to happen that soon because I think already once the iPhone is launched, it's going to be more expensive. So Samsung can say, well, they announced the iPhone, but our Note 8 has everything that has and then some, and it's still cheaper. So I think that's what Samsung's looking to do this year.
yeah, I don't know that I think the Note 8 is going to drop in price for a while. Maybe next year a little bit. Samsung phones don't typically drop that much in price. What they do is they run discounts all the time, like these trade-in deals, but they don't actually slash the price off of their phones very often.
Well, not for ever, but like we've seen on the S8. I mean, now you can get it for around a mid $500. So, but it's like a deal.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Maybe in a few months we'll see a few $100 off it as like a special deal.
Yeah, potentially, for sure.
Potentially. It's got everything.
It really does have everything. Yeah, so pre-orders are open, and obviously you can buy this thing everywhere. Everywhere's got it. There's already the unlocked model. Instead of Samsung kind of taking their time and then releasing an unlocked model a couple months later, they're making the unlocked Note 8 available right now. It only comes in black, I believe, but well, the two colors in the US anyway are just orchid and black, right? We don't have the blue or the gold.
Nope.
They'll probably show up later. But
Best Buy exclusive.
Yeah, up front, black and orchid. Let's see. So I played with the phone, obviously, for a little bit. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's not like I'm not excited about the Note 8. I just think it's not that different from an S8 and S8 Plus. It's about the same size as S8 Plus. It does have the pen. It's a little more squared off. But like in reality, it's not really that.
Just to clarify for everyone, Kellen is not that excited about the Note 8.
About this phone at all. And I think that is, though, because it's just like an S8, but we've talked about this a little bit. It's just like an S8 Plus, got a pen, and it's like $1,000 phone. It's going to be great. I'm sure it'll be up there for phone of the year when you get done reviewing this thing. I have no doubt about that. It's just not that different anymore from like the Note used to be this powerhouse that had all this extra crap. It was kind of the original stuff and things before the LG V series started.
Wow.
It stood out on its own. Now I just don't know that it really stands out on its own. It's kind of like this slightly upgraded S8 Plus, which is totally fine. If you skip the S8 and S8 Plus and you have like a Note 5 or something, this will be the phone for you. I'm sure it'll be amazing. Yeah, I'm not really that excited about it. It was totally fine. I held it. It was big. It was a fingerprint magnet. It has dual cameras. Sweet. Still TouchWiz or whatever the hell it's called. Samsung Experience software. I don't know. I think because I've spent so much time with the S8s, like, and then playing with this, there wasn't that wow factor. Now, if you own, say, an S6 or a Note 5 or a 4 or something like that, and you pick this thing up, you'll probably be blown away. I just, I'm numb to it, I guess.
Wow, jaded is what you are.
Well, it's not like I have anything against it. I just don't. It's just not that
Well,
exciting.
yeah, it just doesn't excite you as much anymore. Totally understandable. That's why I'll probably be reviewing it. I'm a bit more receptive to the minor changes over the S8 and S8 Plus. But you're right. It is a larger S8 Plus with an S Pen and with dual cameras, with both that have OIS. So as a big Instagram fan, I'm totally excited about the possibilities and the potentials of all that.
The pictures should be great. It'll probably have the best camera of any smartphone for sure.
Well, we'll see, right? I mean, we still got some more phones to go this year, so.
Hey, we got Pixels on the way.
I know. Well, I'm excited about those too. I mean, I'm excited about all phones, well, except for like Sony phones. But other than that, I'm pretty excited about all major Android releases. But there's something about the Note 8. It's because I loved the Note 7 so much, and it was taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready to like jump back in with that big display, play my games, watch my videos. I like that big phone experience, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I will soon have it in hand once it arrives, and then we'll just dive right in.
We shall dive right in. There are so many phones to.
Oh, it's going to be a busy year.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So Note 8, pre-order now, spend hella money, trade it something if you can to try to reduce that price. Tim's excited. I'm not. I'm sure it'll still be great. That's kind of like the recap, right?
Not bad.
I played with stuff, and there wasn't like a bunch of new stuff for me to talk about. I mean, like there's a dual camera, yeah, but there wasn't like a bunch of new stuff for me to like share with you.
I guess you're right.
I feel kind of bad. I wish I could say more other than it's kind of just like a big Note S8 Plus with a pen.
Yeah. There's really not much else to say.
In actual exciting news, the LG V30 is now official. I don't know why I'm more excited about this phone than I am the Note 8, because the Note 8 has more stuff than this thing. But maybe it's just because Samsung's been kind of killing it for so long that, not that they're boring, but we're waiting for other people to step up and do fun stuff. So, anyways, LG V30 right here. It's now official. It was announced last night, a little over 12 hours ago. And it also leaked quite well. So recap LG V30. First of all, we have no idea when it's coming or how much it's going to cost, because that's how LG does things. But it is running Android 7.1.2, not 7.1.1, which I think I said in my preview video. But it has a 6-inch Quad HD OLED display. This is the display we're probably going to see in the Pixel XL too. So even if you don't care about this phone, this is probably the display that'll be in the next Pixel. So that's noteworthy. Snapdragon 835, 64 gig storage, 4 gig RAM, 16 megapixel shooter there on the back, along with a 13 megapixel wide angle guy. So what was the G6? I think it was dual 13 megapixel shooters, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. One with
one
wide angle.
Yeah, I think they were both 13. So this one, we've upped one of them to 16. The wide angle is 13, 3,300 milliamp hour battery. No removable battery on this guy. So
what?
Yeah, so
yeah, dead on arrival.
Add that. Yeah, you're done. V30. IP68 dust and water resistance. Also military standard 810G compliant. So it should be tough, even though it looks like pure glass and fragile. Type-C headphone jack with the quad DAC.
Woo!
Love me some quad. Bluetooth 5.0 fingerprint reader in a proper spot right there.
Oh, that phone is hot. Like, give me the V30 over the Note 8 any day of the week.
It's pretty hot.
I mean, it doesn't have dual OIS, but it's still nice.
Not have dual OIS. But it feels great. Like in my comparisons, I kind of just compared it to S8 and S8 Plus because it falls right in between there in terms of size. It's definitely a little wider, and you can kind of see it even on video. There are definitely some side bezel going on.
Right. Look at that display, though.
Yeah,
it doesn't even look real.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts for a first time Infinity OLED from them. I think they did a pretty nice job. Colors have been fine. Viewing angles are decent. it seems like a pretty good panel. I don't really have any complaints about the panel. It gets bright enough. But yeah, like a good size. It just feels premium. It looks really nice. Like even their dual camera setup up there is not ugly, I don't think. I mean, it's going to be tough forever to make dual cameras look pretty, but they did it.
It doesn't look bad. Like it doesn't look like a surprised robot like the G6 or anything.
Right. And the V20, like they looked really bad. This one, it doesn't really at all. So
yeah.
Really nice phone. This is a pre-production unit, so it's not like I can give you any final thoughts on the camera or battery life or any of that stuff, but performance-wise has been great. The display is fine. The software, and I'm not really a big fan of LG software, has been totally fine. It's not driving me nuts just yet. Has a floating toolbar since there is no ticker display. I definitely 100% best designed LG phone we've seen yet. And it's not saying a lot. They've had some ugly phones in the last couple of years. Really nice though. Some additional notes. This will be T-Mobile's first 600 megahertz LTE ready phone. So if you're a T-Mobile user and you want to dive into that new network when it goes live towards the end of the year, this will be the phone to do it. Take advantage of that. It's coming to all the major carriers, but again, we don't really know when. It's coming to South Korea on the 21st, I believe. The 21st. Yes.
Way too long from now for anyone to keep excited, like stay maintained. Like LG has a terrible history of doing this, where they will announce something awesome and then wait way too long to make it available.
Yeah, they're kind of the worst at that. They started in the last couple of years trying to get out in front of Samsung almost every time Samsung announces something, but they do that by showing off something and then they fail to make it available for purchase, and so everyone just buys Samsung stuff anyway. So they announced it. Well, Samsung got in before them with the Note 8 and is going to have the Note 8 in stores by, what did we say, the 15th. So LG just announced this phone today, and it's official for South Korea on the 21st. So a week after the Note 8 goes up for sale everywhere across the globe. And then we don't know, like, if it's coming to the US that week also, if it'll be another week, another 2 weeks. Like, I looked back last year at the V20. The V20 was announced the first week of September. It didn't show up in the US until the end of October, like almost 2 months later. They were a little bit quicker with the G6 this year. That was end of February and then first week of April, but still kind of a long time. So if they're not ready to release this thing like right around that September 21st, 22nd, it's going to be tough, because then by then the iPhone will be out, the Note 8 will have been available, and the Pixel 2 will basically be around the corner because it's rumored to come out on October 5th. So if LG doesn't hurry, it's going to be forgotten about really quickly, I think.
Yeah, especially considering the V30 is what we expect pretty much from the Pixel XL2. Then, I mean, really, they just sort of painted themselves into a corner there.
Yeah, because with the Pixel XL2, right, we're expecting just the back to be more of a metallic matte finish than glass.
The glass.
We'll have that display.
That fingerprint reader.
Yeah, that fingerprint reader, which won't be a button. It won't have dual cameras, but it'll have stock Android, and it should be really good. So yeah. It's too bad. Like, if this phone doesn't take off, I will actually feel bad for LG, because I think this is going to be a really, really, really good phone. But timing it's hard. I think we have this conversation almost every year. Like, it's hard to break through. Like, Samsung obviously nails it almost every time. We know the iPhone does what it does. Now Google's making a really good phone. We'll see if they actually make enough that anyone could buy, but it's a hard spot for LG to be in.
It's the LG phone I've been most excited for since ever. So, I mean, I was excited for the G6, but something about this V30, it looks good. Ooh.
And it is pretty damn good. So yeah, we'll have a full retail. We'll have a retail unit in as soon as we can, and then we'll start reviewing that thing, because we want to hammer these things out so that you guys can make a decision in case you're in the market for a new phone, because they are all coming. You got Note 8, V30, new Pixels. Some of you might even be considering an iPhone, but or this guy.
Ooh.
Essential phone. Essential phone is actually real. It exists. So Essential phone, speaking of other phones that you may be considering, this is now, is it available? I still can't really tell.
No, not really.
No, not really. Okay, so the Essential phone, you guys know Andy Rubin's company, his phone. It went up for pre-order at Sprint at one point a couple weeks ago. I don't know if that actually ever shipped or not. We don't have any Sprint subscribers that are our readers, I don't think. Such a Sprint hater. And then the unlocked version kind of went up for pre-order for some people who reserved it. But I don't know that anyone else can just go buy the damn thing. Anyway, so ours came in. This is actually an actual retail unit, not a review unit. This is a retail unit, and it is here.
What?
So if you can't, again, you can't really buy it, but there's been a bunch of reviews out there. Obviously, we're going to take our time and review this thing. If you've seen any of the early reviews, they've all said the hardware is awesome, the software is awesome, battery life's pretty solid. There's no headphone jack, which kind of sucks. It's a fingerprint magnet, but then the big problem is the camera. So I have not had a chance at all. I got this thing today. I've not played with the cameras at all, but I don't have like great expectations for them. Everyone that has reviewed this phone has said the cameras are pretty much trash, even after multiple updates on updates on updates. So
can you hold the V30 and the Essential up to the camera for size comparison, please?
yes, here you go. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that pretty good. The V30 is a little wider, a little taller.
A little wider, a little taller, which is kind of crazy, right? Because it's only like a 0.3-inch difference in display size. So you can see the Essential design is quite nice. Like it's really compact. Like this phone, it has a 5.7-inch quad HD. Like it fits in your hand like a small-ish phone. In a way, just because it's so squared off, it reminds me of like those Sony compact phones that I was a fan of for a while.
You love those.
Yeah, just because it has that squared feeling where it's not huge, except it has a giant 5.7-inch quad HD display. The display is LCD though, which is come on, who puts LCDs in freaking phones anymore?
Not LG.
Not LG, thank the Lord. The display is quite cool looking though. I mean,
that thing looks so dope.
Yeah. So Tim and I were talking before the show, like you could put almost any wallpaper on this thing and it'll look cool. Like it just looks cool. The build, it's heavy. This is a heavy phone, and that's because all that titanium or whatever it is. But it feels substantial. It just feels really, really, really premium, which I would hope so. It is a $700 phone. But the camera, right? I mean, this is like, I've only been playing with this phone for a couple hours now. I saw it last week when I was in New York for the first time. But now I finally have one in-house that I can start reviewing. And just in the first couple hours, I would say like, this is exactly the phone I've been looking for outside of like, say, a Pixel phone because of the stock Android, the performance, the feel. But I just think the camera is going to be terrible. Like the camera is going to ruin this damn phone for me, I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would even take like a worse camera experience for hardware that good. Like, but not by much, but just a little bit.
Comparison.
Look at that thing. Oh man, that thing makes the V30 look humongous.
Yeah, the V30 actually does look ginormous next to it. And yeah, the V30 is 6-inch and this thing's 5.7. So
I'm still not huge on the Widow's Peak, but
the Widow's Peak is kind of goofy.
It's hot, dude. It's so hot.
It's just so different, right?
So different.
Just so
we're weirdos.
We are weirdos. We like little quirky things like that. So
yeah, and you can't put a price on identity theft. So props to Essential for just doing big things.
So what Tim is referencing there is what was that, 2 days ago now? Like middle of the night. Essential sent emails out to a bunch of customers that said, hey, we need to further confirm your identity. Please respond with like your address and your driver's license and all this crap. And a bunch of people over at Reddit were like, whoa, somebody hacked Essential. There's a phishing scam. This is creepy. Don't respond. Unfortunately, a whole bunch of people hit like reply all. And the thread was open to everyone. And so everyone got each other's like personal identifying information. And as it turns out, it was not a phishing scam. It was just a total screw up by Essential. And they exposed a bunch of people. I don't think it was like social security numbers or anything, but it was like phone numbers, address, driver's license. And Andy Rubin had to, he didn't have to, but he released a statement last night that says like, yeah, we screwed up. Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, we totally screwed up. I don't have any excuses. This is terrible. Like, I'm so sorry. And he's going to give everyone that was exposed or was on that email chain a free phone. So that's kind of cool. And also, is it LifeLock? Is that the like
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah.
security protection service or whatever? They're giving that to everyone for a year or something. So they are trying to make up for it. But yeah, it was kind of embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
It was pretty embarrassing.
Like when things couldn't get any worse, right? Because people were already freaking out about like, where's my phone? They lied. Essential is a scam. My phone's still in China and it's supposed to be here today. And then you see that people are like sharing their, personal information with other Essential customers. Apparently, it only affected like 70 some odd customers, but even one is too many for that to happen. So super embarrassing. Good on Andy Rubin for like, making the situation right by saying, hey, we're going to give you a free phone. We're going to make sure your identity is protected for a year. Good on them. But still, it's been a rough past couple of days, weeks for Andy Rubin and Essential.
It's been pretty rough in general. So like I was gone at the end of last week when some other stuff started happening. Like everyone got mad because they had ordered a week prior. They had paid with their pre-orders. Remember, it was supposed to ship within 7 days. And that didn't happen, right? It was more like 10 or 11 or 12 days. And then I think on Friday, most people got shipping notices. I don't think mine showed up till maybe Saturday or something like that. And then the phone shipped out of China. And instead of being 2 to 3 days, it was more like 5 or 6 days because it got hung up in China. I mean, I got a shipping notice, I think, over the weekend, and mine got here today. So even if it was business days, that's still 4 business days. I mean, like that, that did. So they didn't deliver on that. Yeah, a lot of people are calling it a scam, all this stuff. And then the identity thing happened. Like it's been one issue after another. You still can't buy the white one. You can only get this black one. The cameras, I think, might be shipping. I honestly, I didn't order one of those 360 cameras because I have zero use for a 360 camera. And if I tried to review it, I don't know what I would even tell you because I don't know what you do with 360 cameras. So, yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for Essential, but the phone is like actually showing up. I talked to somebody else that ordered one, and theirs got there today as well. So these phones are showing up, the retail units.
Yeah, I mean, the real plus though is that I think it's a good thing that all these hiccups are happening the first year that they're trying to do this, right? I mean, you just have to assume that next year, if they come out with an Essential phone 2, or maybe the year after, maybe they'll take their time. But these hiccups, these bugs, these things that every new phone company has to go through are just they're getting it all out of the way right now. That way, the next time around, it'll be much smoother. Just they'll know what to expect, I guess. So that's my only, I'm trying to be optimistic, but they're making it really hard.
They've obviously had enough screw ups that you have to hope that they're really, really, really learning. Like Essential's not going anywhere. They've got valued at upwards of $1 billion, right? Everyone's throwing money at them, so they're not going anywhere anytime really soon. But so far, yeah, this first one hasn't gone exactly that smoothly. And now the reviews are out, and everyone says the camera's terrible. So not the best start, but I still like what they're trying to do. Like I said, this phone, I'm telling you, if anyone held this phone, they would go, okay, this is cool. Like, yes, it's heavy, but they would go, this is cool. It looks great. The software is great. The build's nice. There's no stupid logos anywhere. I mean, like the charger, so the chargers and accessories that it comes with don't have logos either. And they're like, it's like a threaded, like nice, like nylon type C cable. Even the headphone jack adapters, like nylon cable. Like it's really, really nice. Like the box is nice, the packaging, all that stuff, the presentation. But if you can't deliver a nice camera on your $700 phone and you expose some of the customers' identities and stuff, it's not great.
Deborah in the chat says you have to give them credit for trying, and that's totally true. I think what's great, again, is that we do have these new companies. I mean, remember, like OnePlus came out of nowhere, and now they're a big Android, OEM now, at least in the Android community. And Essential may do the same thing. They're like, you know what? We're here to stay. We're going to make our future stuff better. So that's cool. I still want one. Even with that crappy camera, like I want that hardware experience. I want that software experience. It just seems cool. So maybe once they start shipping out Oreo, and if the phone is like easily purchasable, I'll think about it.
Yeah. I like what they're doing. They obviously, this is the first go around. So yeah, I imagine next year things should be much, much better. It just sucks for them because if everyone says, I'll just wait till next year, that
doesn't help.
Yeah. All right. So essential phone. So we have an essential phone in house. Review will be. I mean, it may not be next week. I want to actually test this thing properly. We don't do reviews after 72 hours of use or 36 hours of use.
Well,
30. We're waiting for retail units. So even though we have one, I'm sorry, I can't review that for you. So yeah, lots of stuff on the way there. Obviously, Note 8, there will be a review soon enough. So I mentioned earlier about Pixel. So this will be another phone we'll be reviewing soon. It's rumored, according to Ev Leaks, to be unveiled on October 5th. So that's just over a month away. I think that sounds about right. I think the original Pixel from last year was right around that time as well.
October 4th.
October 4th. And we're now thinking that we'll have a Snapdragon 836 processor in there. And again, it should look kind of like this on the front, just with Google styling on the back.
You got the new Pixel.
Yeah. So that'll be exciting. And it should be water resistant and all that good stuff. Have squeezy side, a little squeezy.
First Pixel with water resistance and squeezy sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dope.
That essential phone not water resistant. It kind of sucks. Like
and no squeezy sides.
And no squeezy side or headphone jack. No headphone jacks in the Pixels though either though.
Well, the smaller one, right? Or are we thinking that it's both now? I thought it was just the small one.
I think both don't have headphone jacks.
Huh. Well, there's like conflicting reports every other day, I swear.
I think the small one has dual speakers. Well, they might both.
No.
I can't keep track either.
I don't know.
Jacks though. All right. In other IFA news, Motorola announced the Moto X4 today. This phone has leaked a handful of times in recent weeks, and this phone just pisses me off. I'm just not going to hold back on this one. The Moto X4 pisses me off because it's not a Moto X. I actually have seen the hashtag not my Moto X floating around, which I kind of like. I like it. I could get on board with the not my Moto X hashtag. So the Moto X4 is, well, Motorola is kind of trying to bill it as like it's a good new family member of some sort from the Moto X line, except it has nothing from the original Moto X line. Moto X line was all about customization, whether that was colors, frame colors, leather, all that stuff. And then it had smarts in it. It ran pretty much stock Android, got updates fast or whatever. This phone, it runs mostly stock Android. I get that, but it has like Alexa built in. There is absolutely zero you can customize about this at all. There's a black version and a blue version. The original Moto X was also kind of billed as a flagship level phone. This one is definitely not. It's like a $400 mid-range phone. So it just pissed me off a little bit. The Moto X was one of our favorite phone lines of all time until Motorola like ditched it for their Moto Z stuff. And this just, in the original Moto X was the Google. It was like Google's first kind of phone, right? Because a bunch of Googlers made it for Motorola basically. And this just doesn't have that feeling. This should be like a Moto Y or something. I don't know.
I'm pretty much over Motorola. Like they've got way too many phones for me to even follow these days. And this one just doesn't even seem to excel in any one particular area. Like, it's got IP68. It's got a nice size.
Big deal, right? Because it's their first phone, I think, with IP68.
Yeah, and yet here I am. It's got SD630. Like it's just not even all that exciting for me.
It doesn't have an AMOLED. For some reason, they went with a 5.2-inch LCD display.
Yeah.
Because they've been using AMOLED, so I don't know why they went to LCD here. Probably because it's
cheaper, and they needed to keep the price down, but it's still $400. Lols.
$400. 8 RAM, 32 gig storage. Has dual cameras on the back.
Not my Moto X.
My Moto X hashtag. 3,000 milliamp hour battery. It looks okay. There was a time where I looked at it and was like, this is actually kind of a cool looking phone. I just don't know if I think that anymore.
And didn't you write an opinion piece like all dedicated to like you like this phone or something?
The more I see it, the more I just don't like the look of it.
It's just not very interesting to me. Like, I don't really knock the design at all. It looks just like a Moto phone, I guess. It's just not all that exciting.
It's not.
There's not a lot going on here. I mean, because like you said, it's got a pretty standard version of Android. It'll have like the Moto stuff built in, but even that's not all that exciting these days. So
not really, no. And I know it has Alexa, and I think actually Lenovo has Alexa's over here going off. Shush. I think that's going to be one of Motorola's new things. Is they're going to build Alexa into everything. So like all their phones going forward are going to have that integration in there, which
That's
is
too
fine.
bad.
I don't have a problem with phone companies doing that.
I do. I have a problem with that.
I know you're just going to see Alexa in everything, just like you're going to see Assistant in everything.
That's fine.
I know it has a 16 megapixel front camera. I think Motorola's did some interesting stuff with this. The Moto X thing's stupid. I'm sick of their ugly camera humps. We don't really know when it's coming here. So it's starting in Europe in September for 400 euros, and then it'll hit the US later this fall. We do think this might be a Project 5 phone at some point, which is kind of cool. At least
That's
it's
cool.
a Project 5 phone, but I don't know. It just, I've got good feelings about the old Moto X's, and this one just doesn't do it for me.
And not at that price. This sounds like a $300 phone to me.
It kind of does, yeah. It's a weird mix of stuff.
Yeah. I get that it's what's throwing me off is this IP68, but then a Snapdragon 630 with 32 gig and 3 gigs of RAM. Like what?
Oh yeah.
An LCD. Like there's pieces of this, it's got USB Type-C and a fingerprint reader and all that. And like the display or the hardware build looks nice, but there's like pieces of it that are super mid-range.
Right.
So it's just kind of throwing me for a loop.
It's a weird mix for sure. I'm not sure what else to say, but it's a weird mix.
Kind of like a Frankenphone.
I guess maybe that's why it's at the $400 price point. But if you want to go premium, OnePlus 5 is only $80 more. No water resistance there though.
Right. Yeah, there's pros and cons to like that whole Wade telling me to stop hating on the 630. Dude, I'm sorry. Like
the 630 is probably fine. Like I was a big 645 fan. I'm sure the 630 will last about 3 days on battery, but
I'm sure that's all groovy. But I feel like, to be like a real successor for that Moto X line, I guess I would just want, I know Motorola can't go all out because their flagships are now this Z line, but that's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of the Z line. I want Moto X to be back in front. So
we don't necessarily like the Moto Z line, and we loved the Moto X line. So we want the Moto X to come back as the other flagship choice, but Motorola is using it to slot in like at this mid-range above the Moto G line, which
the world would explode if the Moto X5 brought back like Horween leather options that you can customize and engrave and all this stuff. Like that would be so cool if just Moto or the Lenovo overlords allowed that to happen. That would be so cool. And bring back the factory in America. Come on, man. Come on, Lenovo. Hear our prayers. Anyway.
BT actually. Oh, it's Thursday. The Moto Texas factory. How long did that thing last? Not even 6 months.
No, it lasted like a solid year.
A year,
maybe.
Last long. That's for damn sure.
Not long enough, right? They took our gerbs.
All right. We were getting emails from people immediately, like within the first month or so, I think, that said like, yeah, we're already shutting down lines at the plant, laying people off. That thing, it was doomed from the beginning, which is too bad because it was kind of a cool thing where like your phone was actually in Texas and it said like in the USA or whatever. Assembled,
yes. It was always mid-high end. Oh yeah, I mean Wade making the reference that Moto X was always mid-high end, like for the Moto X line. Like I hear you, I totally hear you, and I agree with you. But damn it, like this phone
and prices for it though. Well, they did start dropping the price on that original Moto X pretty quickly though, because they couldn't sell any of it.
Yeah, there's just something about this I'm not feeling.
I'm not feeling it at all because it's not like the Moto X's of the past with the customization stuff. It's just like a new version. They're trying to jump on the old Moto X bandwagon. It pisses me off.
Regardless, Kellen will have a review for you ASAP.
Someday. They don't really know when it's coming. It's coming this fall.
This fall. It's pretty soon.
All right. In other news, Google Assistant. I mentioned Google Assistant is going to be everywhere soon, just like Alexa, and it sure is. Google announced this week that they got a whole bunch of third-party speaker makers that are making Google Assistant-powered speakers, and those should be available fairly soon, I think. Kind of some random companies like Anchor, Mobvoi. Is it Mobvoi? Mobvoi? Panasonic. They announced those, but Sony also announced one today. And so these all have Google Assistant built in, so you can activate them with, the command. I don't need to say it and set everyone's thing off. You can activate it with that. So you can take advantage of all the Google Assistant stuff. That's a cool thing, because if you don't want to Google Home, which Google Home isn't great at the microphone pickup department, maybe some of these will be better, and there'll be different price points. Like I would imagine Anchor will probably create one that costs like $100 max, right? Anchor does things at reasonable prices, and their stuff's pretty damn high quality. So you'll soon have the opportunity to have a Google Assistant speaker in your house, no problem. In fact, the Mobvoi Tick Home Mini is what it's called. It's a portable Google Home unit. It looks kind of like an Amazon Echo Dot, but powered by Google, and it's also portable. So going to see form factors all over. Like they also announced that Google Assistant will be in appliances. So you can ask Google to check on your laundry, probably turn the oven on at some point, vacuum your house. Like those are all coming. Like we're going to start have voice controlled Google homes.
I just got LED light bulbs throughout my house, and my smart thermostat. Now you're telling me I got to upgrade to smart appliances and washers and dryers and all this crap. Man, that's expensive.
Yeah, it is going to get really expensive. Hopefully, a lot of these things are one-time purchases, though. Where you don't have to continuously upgrade.
Yeah.
The Sony speaker though is $200, so it's more expensive than Google Home. But I would imagine the sound quality be better. It also doubles as a clock. It comes in black or white. It looks a lot like Apple's HomePod, doesn't it?
Yes, like exactly. Like
exactly
like they will be sued.
Well, it has a clock though. It has a digital clock.
An LED digital clock readout. Sony, what year is this? Come on, dude. That looks terrible. $200?
You can turn that off, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
The idea is awesome though. I mean, the fact that we're getting like these non-Google made Google homes, totally awesome. Totally awesome.
They're coming pretty soon. Like Google said, expect them in the next couple of months, definitely before the end of the year. I think Panasonic's was maybe early next year, but some of these other ones, like Sony, I think said theirs is coming like in October or end of the month or something.
October for $199. That's expensive.
It's gotta be expensive.
It's Sony though.
Speaking of expensive, Sonos is going to announce a new speaker around October 4th, and everyone thinks it'll be a smart speaker. The only thing is we don't know. Like, is it going to be a Google Assistant speaker or an Amazon Alexa speaker, or an Alexa powered speaker, or both? I think some people are wondering if it'll have multiple assistants. Is anyone actually building anything with multiple assistants? I don't think so. Yeah,
if you actually go on Kickstarter, there's a few speakers that have all of the assistants in one.
That sounds legit.
I'm not even joking. Like they're there.
All the assistants. Like Andy Rubin can't even figure out how to do it in Essential. And Andy Rubin, like I don't think the Kickstarter bro from South America has figured that out either.
Andy Rubin made it sound like it was a real pain to try and get all the assistants to work together.
It sounds like no one's is like will let you do that. Like these companies let you do that. So,
but this guy on Kickstarter says he's got it. So I trust that.
Always trust a Kickstarter guy for sure.
Yeah.
Always. So anyway, Sonos is making a new speaker that'll have some sort of smarts in it. We just don't know who the smart assistant will be, unless maybe it's their own and it tries to attach to. Hopefully Sonos didn't try to make their own assistant. That will suck.
Yeah.
And then finally, it was the guys at 9 to 5 Google unearthed word of Google Assistant powered headphones. So could be Google made because it was listed in some of the code in the Google app. But Google Assistant speaker or headphone, I keep saying speakers, headphones. And I think over ear or at least on ear headphones that you can like touch a button and talk to Google Assistant and get information through your headphones. That makes sense. If we're getting it through speakers and other stuff, it would make sense that we also get it through headphones, especially as you're walking around a city, traveling, whatever, and you need to talk to the assistant. Keeping that within your ear would actually be better than have it just blaring out assistant stuff at all times. So Google Assistant powered headphones should be on the way as well.
Fancy.
Yeah, the assistant's just gonna be everywhere.
Damn.
Which I'm fine with as long as these things are better voice activated than Google Home is.
Yeah.
In huge news, Sony announced the Xperia XZ1 and XZ1 Compact today.
Huge.
Do you want to talk about these two phones?
Yeah, absolutely. Two new Sony devices. We don't yet know where, when and if they're coming to the US and how much, important stuff. But they are pretty cool. So we've got the Sony Xperia XZ1 and the XZ1 Compact. Sony says that both devices will launch with Android Oreo. Huge. So these will be some of the first devices, that aren't Nexus or Pixel branded that are launching with the new version of Android, kind of like what LG did last year with the V20. So that's really awesome. Both phones. So let's start with the big boy, the XZ1, even though it's really not a big boy. It has a 5.2-inch Full HD HDR triluminous display. The smaller guy, the Compact, has a 4.6-inch, HD triluminous display. Both have Snapdragon 835 processors, Android O. They both got 19 megapixel cameras. I mean, they're both 19 megapixel Exmor RS cameras with one feature that sounds really cool on these Sony phones: a super slow motion 960 frames per second video capture, which sounds incredible. Both have 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gig storage. Oh no, little guy only has 32 gigs, excuse me. Both, even though one is super small and the other one's larger, both have a 2700 milliamp hour battery with quick charging 3.0. And that's about it. I mean, they got fingerprint readers, IP68 water and dust resistance. What else do you want to know? They ain't coming here.
They will in like 7-8 months when no one cares, and they'll still charge full price for them, like $600 for the cheapest one.
If these phones were launching like on a carrier though, like I would be interested. I mean, they've got the specs to get me interested, and they're coming with Oreo and that 960 FPS video capture. Like I'm interested. It's just that's the problem in the US. Sony availability it's just basically non-existent until much later down the road. So
you won't have a fingerprint reader in the US because Sony can't do that for some reason.
Yeah.
If they were here, they would be certainly worth looking at, but they'll sell unlocked and they'll show up for $600-700
and yes, they look like every other Xperia device ever put out since 2013.
I mean, this picture, I'm telling you, like I can't tell the difference anymore at all between Sony phones.
No, look at this chin and the forehead. They look like every other Sony device ever.
Made fun of the HTC U11 for having big top and bottom bezels. They just puts that to shame.
Sound nice on paper though.
They do sound nice on paper. I still like the Sony styling.
Sure.
If Sony could give us a phone that didn't have gigantic, ugly bezels, it might actually be worth looking at.
A lot of people are Sony fans, so
there are people that are Sony fans.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
And they say, I'm gonna import this device, blah blah blah.
They're out of their minds, drunk. No one's importing Sony phones. I did that at one point, and it was like, what was I doing? What was I thinking?
It was the red Compact, right?
That one and the white Z1 Compact, 2 of them.
That thing was hot.
I have a black Z5 Compact somewhere too.
Oh, traded in for a new Note 8.
Yeah, Z5 Compact was the end because that phone was so terrible. The Z3 Compact, that red one, that was a great little phone. But the Z5 Compact was the end.
Dang.
Anyway, so those are Sony phones.
Yeah, there you go, Bertzer. You can go get yourself a Sony.
Bertzer, don't do it. Don't do
it. He's doing it.
He is doing it. All right, so Nest randomly last night announced the Nest Thermostat E, which is E for everyone, not energy. And it's a cheaper Nest. It's all white, has a frosted glass front, and it costs just $169. And Nest says that within the first year, you could save as much as $131 or $145, which all but covers the cost of one. You can buy it right now, actually, at Nest's site, and I think Best Buy has them as well. So if you were scared of the old Nests because they were $250 or $300 or whatever they were, this could be the Nest for you. There's not much else to say about it. Has all the same features. It just doesn't have the display on it, so you can't get into all this features, I don't believe, from the actual thermostat, but it has the app, so you can do everything that you would do with the other one anyway.
Kind of looks cool.
It does kind of look cool. Just blends right into your white walls.
Yeah.
Assuming you have white walls.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I watched the promo video of it, and it was like, that was the big thing, is it's just supposed to blend into the background because you don't need your thermostat standing out. It's like for the last like 10 years, you guys have been trying to make the thermostat stand out on my wall. And now you're like, no, it shouldn't. And then they showed all these people's, model homes, and everything's white, like their couch and pillows and chairs and desks, and everything was white. I'm just like, who has that much white in their damn house?
I got 2 dogs. I can't have anything white in my house. It's game
Like,
over.
there's patches of white.
Yeah.
But geez Louise, who wants white everything? So anyways, that is nice though. $169 if you want a Nest thermostat.
That's great.
They are great little accessories for your home. Let's see. Samsung announced the Gear Sport and Gear Fit 2 Pro this week at IFA. Gear Sport is their newest smartwatch, and Droid Life won't load for me right now, so I can't really tell you that much about it. But it's their new smartwatch. We don't know how much it costs or when it's coming just yet. I don't believe. The Gear Fit 2 Pro though is up for pre-order right now, $199, and I believe it arrives around the time of the Note 8. Oh, there we go, Droid Life. Thanks for responding to me. So yeah, Gear Sport is the new smartwatch. It's actually kind of a decent design. It has the rotating bezel. It's just, you don't like the design at all.
Oh, this is like the ugliest thing I've ever laid eyes on.
I think for just a simple looking sport watch, I don't think it looks terrible. It definitely doesn't look as good as like the Gear S3 and some of those. Like those I thought were pretty decent designs.
It's like a squircle.
It's definitely a squircle.
With like an actual circle on top of the squircle that rotates. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
It's an adaptive icon.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks that bad because I'm just looking at it as like a sport watch.
Sure.
Definitely not a classy ass watch. This is definitely some sports stuff here.
It's the Gear Squircle.
It's the Gear Squircle. But it's got all the stuff you'd want, like lots of RAM, NFC for Samsung Pay, a battery that supposedly lasts up to 4 days, 5 ATM water resistance, which is a big deal. You can swim with this bad boy.
Yeah.
GPS, standard 20mm strap width. It's kind of got it all, but we don't know how much it's going to cost. Like, I don't know if it's going to be $300, $350, $200. Like, it looks, I will just say this, it looks like it should be cheap. Like, it should be like $200, but there's no way it's going to be that cheap.
It should be like $149. I mean, there's no way. It's going to be like $349 because Super AMOLED display with 4 gig storage and 768 RAM. Yeah. Like, this is going to, and MST, like, we're screwed. Or NFC.
I think they put a new heart rate monitor in it too.
Yeah, so we're screwed.
So yeah, we're probably way off. Maybe $299. I don't know.
I don't get. Yeah, see, Brian's on my team because he says it looks like $99, like out of a Cracker Jack box, and that's what I agree with.
It definitely does not look that nice. Like I said, the Gear S3 and the S3 Classic, those look like nice smartwatches. It looks like a cheap sport watch, but they did pack it full of all the stuff you would want.
I hear you, but it's kind of like what Huawei did, though, and they go for more like this fitness stuff. I get it, like this, it's the Gear Sport watch. I get it, but damn, I'm just not a fan. And that's fine.
Yeah, I just don't hate it. I get it. Fine. It's just like a simple sport watch, which could be decent. And if it lasts for 4 days, like,
you probably like that blue color too, huh?
See, I don't really like the blue.
I'm calling BS. You love the blue.
I don't really like the blue.
The blue is actually, I think, a redeeming quality of it.
Yeah, I think I would go black if I were to get one, but I'm not gonna. So,
dang.
The Gear Fit 2 Pro though. $199. What was the original Fit 2? Like $179? It was
something like that.
Like $140. I don't know. The original Gear Fit 2 was a wearable I recommended at the time. Still probably would. It definitely got the job done if you needed sort of a simple fitness band that actually had all the stuff like GPS. So this one they upgraded slightly. Like, it still has GPS and AMOLED display, but it's 5 ATM water resistance now too, so you can swim with this thing. I'm actually not sure what else they did to upgrade it. Oh, they changed the band. So the band on the old one was kind of crappy and used to like pop off and come unattached. This is more of a standard buckle style watch band. So should fit a little bit better. Fit 2 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, it looks just like every other Fit.
It does. So. It does. The last one was just good, and for the price, you really couldn't beat it. And so this one at $200, I mean, I guess. I don't know why they hiked the price up that much, but they did.
Yeah.
Then finally, they announced new Gear Icon X earbuds. that apparently have longer battery life, and that's about it.
Thank God, because
originals were terrible, right?
oh, so bad. I would go on a 30-minute walk and they're dead. Those things were trash. No offense. Like I love the concept, the idea of wireless earbuds. I think that's great. But they were just bad.
Bad. How long do the Apple AirPods last? Do we know?
You're asking the wrong dude. Anyone in the chat, feel free to answer that for Kellen, because I have no idea.
Either. All right, so in the final news of the day,
wow,
when to end it on. God, we've talked about a lot of stuff. We haven't really gone far over our typical hour though. So
no.
Verizon also, I think while I was gone, they announced new unlimited plans. No, not while I was gone. When was this? Last week, right before I left, I think.
Yep.
So they announced 2 unlimited plans, and essentially what they're doing is getting rid of the unlimited plan they just announced in February, the one that was actually a pretty damn good unlimited plan that didn't really have any hangups. And now they have 2. One's called Go Unlimited and one's called Beyond Unlimited. And Go Unlimited is $75 a line for the first line, and you get DVD quality video at all times, and you can't upgrade. You also get hotspot, and the data is throttled to 600 kilobits per second at all times. That's kind of insane, like reading that out loud. So that's what you get for that. And then if you go for Beyond, you actually get HD quality video streaming, which is only 720p on a phone. If you have a tablet, I don't know who the hell has tablets, you might get up to 1080p, but for everyone's phone on Verizon, you only get 720p video streams, and you can't opt out of that. You do get 15 gigabytes of 4G LTE hotspot data though. And they're kind of like the big changes, but then Beyond Unlimited is $85 for a single line. Go Unlimited is $75, whereas the old plan was $80. It was right in between there. What's really terrible is that they are. Oh, I guess I should also point out that Go Unlimited, they could throttle you at any time if you're in a congested area. So even if you don't hit like a 22 gig cap or anything, they could just throttle you if they want. But if you were on that original unlimited plan, you have now, in a way, been switched to this new Beyond, where your video is now going to be throttled. You'll still pay the same price, and you'll get the extra 5 gigs of hotspot data, but you will now be throttled when you watch videos on Verizon. I just don't get this stuff. It's frustrating.
It's very rude.
Our phones have, big giant displays, quad HD displays. Can't even watch a 4K video any longer on Verizon.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I get it from their point of view, but as the consumer, it's all bad.
Well, yeah, and like their whole point is that you don't need to watch anything higher than that because it's such a small screen.
That's not their choice, though. Like it's not shouldn't be up to them.
Yeah, it totally shouldn't be up to them. Oh, you know what's crazy? I swear they updated their press release. So in that initial write-up I did, I wrote, guys, Verizon wants you to know their network has never been stronger. They want you to know their network is super fast, and they win awards and all this stuff. And I was being sort of sarcastic and snarky about that because their initial press release, like, I'm pretty sure going to the Wayback Machine, I'm pretty sure it started out with like 2 paragraphs on how great their network was. Oh, here we go. They totally have changed it about how great their network was. And they're like, but we're going to throttle you is essentially where I went with that. Oh yeah, they totally did edit this. Look at this. So it used to say, we introduced Verizon Unlimited and prepaid Unlimited earlier this year, and our network has never been stronger. 8 times in a row, we won root metrics and coverage and reliability in 8 straight times. And then in speed, we've won that the past 7 times. We're so awesome is basically what it says at the top. And then now if you go to that page, those 2 top paragraphs are gone. I'm not even kidding. They totally changed that. Because that's why I wrote that intro, is because they started that way, like saying how great they were, but now we have to change our plans and throttle you at all times. Yeah, no, they cleaned that up. It actually doesn't say that anymore.
That's
really funny.
That's not very Verizon of them at all.
It's actually, that's exactly Verizon of them. So anyways, that's what Verizon's doing. We did an unlimited data plan comparison if you want to see how it compares to everybody else. I'll just say this, like T-Mobile is probably the best value at this point because they're not really doing much throttling.
And a lot of the stuff you do doesn't even count towards your data in the first place, even though it's unlimited, right? But like still at the end of the month.
Yeah, and their cap is 32 gig per line before they start throttling you, whereas Verizon, AT&T are at 22 and Sprint's at 23 gigs. The only thing is you have to upgrade to the Plus to get fast hotspot data, but and HD streaming and stuff like that. So they all have like these asterisks, right? And they made it confusing for everyone. Like there was a time where things were getting back to being simple. Remember that? Remember when T-Mobile killed the contract and there was no more contracts and everything was just a simple thing and all this crap? None of this is simple anymore. Like it took me like 2 hours to put together this updated chart. And I had already put one together back in February because there's so many little things that are changed between each one. Like it's just, I don't know how anyone can keep up with this crap. I guess that's why we put together charts like this so that people can.
Makes my head spin.
So it gives me a damn headache every time I look at this crap. So yeah, I don't even have a recommendation anymore. When Verizon came out with their unlimited plan in February, I was like, yeah, it's actually a really good plan. There's no throttling anywhere. It's just unlimited. The price is really good. You should probably sign up for it. Now it's just like, oh, depends on how much. If you watch a lot of video, you probably shouldn't. But T-Mobile has some throttling. I don't know. AT&T actually has one of the better deals because you can get DirecTV Now bundled in for like $10 if you want, DirecTV Now.
Yeah.
And Sprint, I just don't know what they're doing. They're Sprint.
They're hard to follow.
Yeah, they kind of are. Because Sprint will give you a good deal for a year, right? And then after that, they screw you and your bill jumps up like $80 a month or something.
Yeah, but they'll cut your current in half and give you free stuff, but it's just, it's too much.
All right. Well, that's that. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Charlie had a question earlier, but we were in the middle of something. Charlie says, I'm trying to switch my mom to Android, so I want a phone under $400, easy to use, and a good camera. Thoughts?
And a good camera.
$400.
If she doesn't care about, like Android Pay, like the Moto G5 Plus is just a really good phone at that price. It's well under $400. Battery life and performance and all that stuff you can't really beat. Camera though is because when you get to that price point is a little iffy. The problem is like everything under $600, $700, the camera is gonna be, they can't put in the best sensor. They don't spend a lot of time fine tuning it. So it's probably a we should do one day. Is the best phone under $400.
Yeah. Bertzer says the Xperia X. So yeah.
Bertzer, just shush.
Hell, they sell it at Best Buy though.
What is the Xperia X? I have no idea what that even is.
Yeah, if George says LG G6 for $400, yeah, I mean if you can find a G6 for $400, that's not a bad deal at all.
It's true too. If you jump on, wow, look at that. The Xperia X Compact 4G LTE is $357.99.
That's probably got a decent camera.
Camera's any good because I don't trust Sony cameras ever, but
wow.
I also don't know. You can get it in like a really nice pea green gold too.
Oh, Wade says buy your mom an iPhone SE. Simple to use. Seriously, save yourself a headache, dude. I'm with Wade on this one. Like
transferring her to Android though, right? So
yeah, but it's a good point. But still, like I regret every day that I got my mom an Android phone because it's every day she emails me or hangouts me to like ask me a question about something I really don't want to help her with.
That's really funny.
Yeah, like how do I back up my photos? Like, I don't know, Mom, go away.
You can buy an unlocked G6. I know this is above the price point, but the unlocked G6 is $499 right now. But you could go on like eBay. I know eBay, and whenever we had that conversation a couple weeks
ago, eBay is legit.
Remember, he was like, everything is used, and we were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
stuff on eBay. But you could get LG G6s on there for $99.99.
Not bad.
But they won't work on Verizon, their GSM version. So AT&T, T-Mobile.
Yeah. Nexus 5X, you could find one of those for pretty cheap.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't get a 5X anymore. Like my brother has been using one, and his just gotten slow and janky. I had to give him a new phone because the thing just wouldn't work anymore. And I got another buddy that's using one, and I think he's having problems too.
If you want to go up, up your price range a little bit, you could find an S8 for probably somewhere around 400, like 5, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Wade says the 5X boot loops. Oh yeah, that's right. LG made it, so it boot loops.
So my brother actually was like it would lock up and reboot on it. I'm not kidding. Not even kidding. Yeah, he was having the problem over the last like 6 months.
That's right. HTC. That's right. Interesting.
What you may want to do is really go like look at a Moto G5 Plus because it's like under $300. If she doesn't like it, you're not like you don't feel like you spent a ton of money probably. The camera's just not excellent, but it's not like the worst thing ever.
And it's a pretty easy to learn Android experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is.
Nice.
Yeah. Any other comments, anyone?
Now we're all just talking about phones now.
Getting in that phone, Rex. That's great. All right, cool. Well, yeah, we got lots of new videos out there. At least Note 8 video up, LG V30 video up. If you guys want to see those in action, you can definitely find those at the site. Otherwise, we just got reviews on the way. Lots of stuff going on right now. And then Pixel 2 coming.
So much stuff. I hope everyone has a fantastic... Is this Labor Day weekend?
Weekend.
Yeah. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, stay safe. Nothing weird going on, I don't think.
Hope not.
No more eclipses or anything to worry about for a while.
Ugh, that was bad. Too much traffic.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us on this Thursday. This was a big ol' episode number 150.
We'll have to do something special for like 151. I mean, 150 should have been special, so we'll just have to make an upcoming episode special. Like we'll do something.
Or wait till 200.
All right, that works.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the long weekend. Droid Life.
Peace.